Last night there was a couple of, I guess they're calling them town hall meetings, but non-residents of Ferguson were not invited, and the members of the media were not invited. David Hunn tracking down the story, even though not allowed in with the Post-Dispatch. Has written the story. Now he joins us. Good morning, David Hunn.
Good morning, McGraw. How are you?
Great. Did you try and sneak in last night?
I did kind of. I mean, we're not allowed to actually sneak. If somebody asks, if we get in and nobody says anything, then we're good. But if somebody asks who we are, we have to tell them. So I went in and I showed my ID and I wrote down my address and I signed in like everybody else and I went and sat down. And then some lady comes up and says, "Hey, yeah, so you're a resident? No, you can't be here. Then who are you with?" And I said, "I'm a reporter at the Post-Dispatch." She said, "Yeah, the DOJ isn't letting people in." And I asked her why. And she was so nice, but she didn't really have a good answer. So the Department of Justice, who was kind of running the meeting, they either didn't tell or weren't forthcoming with why they didn't want us there.
So she then politely escorted you out.
Yeah, super nice lady, but yes,
yeah.
Firmly and politely had me leave.
So then afterwards, the only information you got then were you tried to interview people on the way out the door.
Yes. So every person who left for the first hour and a half, I talked to. And then after that, there was a rush, and I talked to as many as I could.
How many people ended up going into the room?
Oh, I think there were probably 50 to 60, maybe even a little more.
And was there I hate to ask this, but was there a consensus of the people who left early?
Yeah, so I'll be super honest, McGraw, and this is hard to talk about, but we have to. The opinions broke down on race lines. White folks thought totally different stuff than black folks. I saw several black folks who left early, and they were so frustrated with the process. They felt like they weren't getting anywhere. People weren't listening to them. A couple of them said, "Oh, all those people are just complaining about protesters. This is a huge event. We have to change policing," and they just want to talk about protesters. And then the exact opposite came from white folks. They're saying this is all about race. The police are bad, and it was actually in some ways it was really disheartening because it was like two ships passing in the night.
Who was doing the listening? Was it the Department of Justice who was sitting at the dais listening?
Yeah. So again, that's really unclear to me because the way the meeting started was for the Ferguson City Council to listen to its residents who had not had a chance to hear answers, they said. But the DOJ, the Department of Justice folks were there, and they were sitting in the back and, kind of the stereotypical guys in suits. And then I guess somebody said something in the beginning, the residents told me. But they didn't seem to play much of a role other than that.
But so there really was anyone moderating? And if they weren't getting answers and just voicing their opinions, what was really the purpose?
Yeah. I mean, it was so hard. Like there's this PR guy for the city, Devin James. Again, really nice guy, very professional. Did not answer at all those questions. Like I don't know if he didn't know or if he couldn't answer or if I was asking him wrong. But I could not get an answer out of him on why, why did the Ferguson City Council call this meeting and why is the DOJ involved and what role did they play? I mean, it was opaque.
Yeah, we've heard this a couple of times where the city council will, sit and listen to the complaints, but the people complaining want to ask questions, and it's a public comment form. It isn't a media. It isn't a politician answer form, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so that's interesting because that's exactly what they said was that's why they had this meeting, was so that people could get answers. And I guess that's what happened. It's just I don't think people always like the answers they got. So the city council did respond this time, and that is why they said they had this one. But I think in many cases, some folks, I'd say half the people I talked to just didn't like either the direction or the answers they were getting.
Let me ask you this. Since the media, since we were not allowed inside, do you think, because the meeting last week, much different situation where people were getting really hot-headed, do you think because media were not allowed, it was much more tame?
Yeah, it's a great question. there's always a little bit of grandstanding that goes on when TV cameras and reporters are in attendance. So I guess I would be hopeful and say maybe, but I don't know. That's a hard question. I'm not sure.
Fair enough. David Hunn doing the legwork, politely escorted from the meeting last night. Congratulations. Good job, David Hunn. Be safe,
Thank
David,
you.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Good talking to you.
You got it. David Hunn with us, STLtoday.com reporter, fast becoming our favorite.
Love him.
Yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. Not only is he nuanced, he's interesting. He has great stories, and then when he comes on the show, he tells you stuff that's not in the story.
Absolutely.
So I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's our buddy, and he's great. And he's a new dad.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's a new dad,
That's
but
right.
he needs to get a haircut. His hair was a little long last time he was here.
Oh, I thought he's cute.
He is, well, yes, he's an attractive male. I'm man enough to admit
I'm
that.
glad that you are.
However, his hair was a little long. His hair was a little 70s. It's 21st century. Come on,
on.
David. 8:30, Big 550.